Of course, you got our injuries starting up. Ben Simmons, is questionable to return. He's been questionable to return like every single week for the last 3 or 4 weeks. I don't really buy it, but he might play, might not. Raptors should get Jakob Poeltl back. He's only missed about a week. Daniel Herder's missed about a month. He's supposed to be back this week. Zach Collins is back for the Spurs. Halliburton, was out for a couple of weeks. He played a couple of games this week, and now he's going to be out for 3 more games. But he should be back next week, so not too bad there. Pistons should be getting Monte Morris and Cade Cunningham back this week. Alvaka Zubac missed all of last week. Supposed to miss about 3 more weeks, so about to the All-Star break ish. The Heat, Jaime Jaquez, missed all of last week. He's questionable this week. He missed like 3 games or something. He might miss a couple more games. Lakers did get Cam Reddish back, so that's good there. Derrick Rose has been out for 2 weeks for the Grizzlies. He's questionable this week. And Darius Garland for the Cavs is questionable to return this week, but it said it's likely going to end up being next week for a return for him. So yeah, with that, you got in here number 30 with the Washington Wizards, who are 7-35, 0-3 on the week. And again, I'm just highlighting every team's leading stat category player over here. But for the Wizards this week, they lost to the Knicks by 4. Not a bad game there. Lost to the Spurs by 7. Not a bad game there. And lost to the Nuggets by 9. So they didn't really play any bad games. All their games were single-digit games. But, obviously when you're not winning any games, you're not exactly going to move up in the rankings. Team below ended up winning a game this week, so they're going to drop right down here. Number 29, you got the Detroit Pistons, who are 0-3 on the week. A 7-point loss to the Timberwolves, a 6-point loss to the Bucks, and a 9-point loss to the Bucks. They played the Bucks twice without Cade Cunningham, and only lost by a combined total of 15 points. So it's actually, not bad there. They all had 3 single-digit losses as well, kind of like the Wizards. So you're going to only drop 1 spot here because, again, the team below you still end up winning a game. So I have to, value a win still rather than close games against good teams. Number 28, you got the Charlotte Hornets, who went 2-2 on the week. They're actually going to drop 2 spots here. They did play a really good game against the Minnesota Timberwolves and actually ended up beating the Timberwolves. But the reason they're dropping a couple spots here is because Terry Rozier is now gone. They traded Rozier for Kyle Lowry, likely going to flip Kyle Lowry. I'm not sure if he's going to even ever suit up in a game for the Hornets. He might, depending on how quickly they can trade him. But I would assume if they don't get to trade him for like 2 more weeks or something, then he'll probably play a couple games for you guys. But he's certainly not as good of a player as Terry Rozier. So that's definitely the main reason why you're going down a couple spots. It's because you're losing one of your best players in Terry Rozier. For a guy like Kyle Lowry, who's not, currently not one of your top 3 players on your roster right now, like Terry Rozier was. Number 27, you got the San Antonio Spurs, who went 1-3 on the week. You actually did lose to the Hornets, but I am going to put you right above the Hornets, mostly because, of their trade, which makes them a little bit worse. And you guys are getting Zach Collins back, which, of course, would make you guys a little bit better. For the Grizzlies, you're going to stay here at 26. You're 16-27, 1-2 on the week. Not a very good team. You lost to the Timberwolves by 15, to the Bulls by 29. You did beat the Raptors by 8. So you got 1 good win this week. But you got destroyed by 30 points to the Bulls. That's not exactly a great thing to see. But again, you're not really expecting a whole lot out of this Memphis Grizzlies team, especially with all your injuries that you do have. Number 25 is the Brooklyn Nets, who are 17-25 at 1-2 on the week. Their record still isn't horrible, but they just don't really look like a very good team right now. They lost to the Blazers by 2. Then proceeded to beat the Lakers by 8 teams. I don't know how that works because the Lakers played the Blazers this week as well, and they beat the Blazers by 20. So you beat a team. You lost to the Blazers, right? But then you can beat the Lakers, and the Lakers destroyed the Blazers. So it's a very interesting thing. That's usually how the NBA works. Transitive property does not matter at all. But you didn't play horrible this week, but you're not going to move up in here because you did lose to the Trailblazers. Number 24, we do got the Trailblazers here, so I've got to put you right below the Trailblazers because of that head-to-head win right there. And there's no other roster moves to, make that any different. So the Blazers are actually going to move up from number 30 all the way up to number 24. Because you did beat the Nets and you beat the Pacers, who are a pretty good team, but then you did get destroyed by the Lakers. But you got 2 good wins this week against teams that don't completely suck. The Nets don't suck, and then the Lakers, of course, don't suck. So that was a good win there. So yeah, that's where we got to move up, 6 spots here, because none of these other teams below you guys, were really great this week either. So you guys are gonna get to move up quite a bit of spots here. Number 23, we got the Toronto Raptors going to stay put. They're 16-28, went 1-3 on the week, so not a great week for them. I did not feel like they should be going below the Portland Trail Blazers, even though the Blazers definitely had a better week this week. I just did not think I could put the Raptors below the Blazers. Obviously, the Pascal Siakam trade happened this past week, which definitely makes the Raptors team worse on paper, right? They are looking to probably flip a Bruce Brown for somebody else, but as of right now, he's on their roster. He's not a bad player. Definitely worse than Pascal Siakam. But your guys, you still have a decent roster. It's pretty fairly competitive roster. I don't think you're one of the worst teams in the conference. So I think 23 right now is a good spot. Number 22 will be the Houston Rockets, who are 20-22 at 1-2 on the week. You lost to the Knicks by 15. You beat the Jazz by 1, and then you lost to the Celtics by 9. So a pretty close game for the Celtics is good. But yeah, only going 1-2, it can't really move you up here at all. Number 21, we got the Golden State Warriors, who did not play any games this week because one of their assistant coaches did pass away. So it's very unfortunate there. I believe they're supposed to be playing their first game tonight or maybe tomorrow night. I'm not 100% sure. Let's look at that. Yeah, they're going to play their first game tomorrow night. They have not played in over a week, so I don't have anything to say about the Golden State Warriors for this power ranking, so I am going to keep them in the exact same spot. At number 20, we got the Orlando Magic, who are 23-21. I went 1-3 on the week, so this is kind of more of what a Magic team that I felt like they could be at the beginning of the season, a team that's hovering right around a 500 team. They've obviously regressed in the last few weeks. They were a top 10 team at one point. They're now, I'm sitting here at number 20. They're still probably above average team when it's all said and done. Obviously, they're still in the play-in picture pretty comfortably in the Eastern Conference. But that's about what I expected from the Magic this year, is to be a team, right around there at 500. He's going to be on the cusp of a play-in and potentially make the playoffs, which is what they're looking at right now. I do expect them to probably make a deadline deal, but I'm just not exactly sure what they would be completely interested in. At number 19, you got the Atlanta Hawks, who are 18-25, 2-2 on the week. Their 2 wins, came with back-to-back DeJounte Murray game-winning buzzer beaters. Pulling out his inner DeMar DeRozan there, boosting his trade value, making all these teams be like, dang, I want this guy. So that's a good thing to see out of DeJounte Murray, going off in one of his last weeks probably with the Atlanta Hawks. If I had to assume, he probably would be traded this week. But yeah, that's all I really got to say about that. He got you a couple wins with his game-winning shots, and after that, you lost by 21 to the Cavs and by 15 to the Kings. So you lost to a couple of good teams, but you're not going to move ahead in good spots. Number 18, I will go the Chicago Bulls, who are 21-24. They went 2-1 on the week. Going to move them up 2 spots here. They beat the Raptors by 6, beat the Grizzlies by 29, and then only lost to the Phoenix Suns by 2. The Suns are a really good team, and they played a really good game against them, as well as winning their other 2 games. So I feel like that is where they are moving them up a couple spots. I just don't hope that this Bulls team, since they're getting closer to 500, I hope that doesn't make the management be like, oh, well, we're actually playing good recently. Maybe we should keep our guys and go for a playoff push. No, that's retarded. But I did see somewhere that they are officially open to trading Zach LaVine and stuff. So that is good. They do need to make some deals and try to rebuild this roster. Number 17, you got the Los Angeles Lakers, who are 22-22, went 2-1 on the week. Beat the Mavericks by 17, beat the Blazers by 24, and then ended up losing to the Nets by 18. Cam Thomas, seen Olivia Rodrigo, and Tate McRae in the stands, and then he decided to go off. So, that's understandable. So that's basically why you guys lost this game, because Cam Thomas shot 70% from the field and 35 points or something. He played really good, but obviously your offense was just not great in that game either. But yeah, Number 16, you got the Utah Jazz, who are 22 and 22 as well. They went 0 and 2 in the week. They're going to drop 6 spots from last week. They didn't play bad. You lost to the Thunder by 5, who are a good team. You lost to the Rockets only by 1 point. So you only lost by a total of 6 points all week. But then again, sitting here at a record of 22 and 22 after going 0 and 2 in the week, definitely have to move you down a few spots, even if you still played pretty good week of basketball. Number 15, you got the Sacramento Kings, who are 1 and 2 on the week. They're going to drop 2 spots here. They're 24 and 18 overall. They only lost to the Suns by 2 and the Pacers by 5. So again, a couple really close games, and then they beat the Hawks by 15. So still +8 overall point differential on the week. Just happen to have 2 very close losses for them. Number 14 is the Indiana Pacers, who also went 1 and 2 on the week, are sitting here at 24 and 19. Of course, they made that Pascal Siakam move this week, but they did lose their first game with him. I think they played 2 games with him. I'm not completely sure. I know they lost their very first game with Pascal Siakam, so that's obviously not great to see. I think they played another game against the Suns and still ended up losing that game. So if I'm not mistaken, they're 0 and 2 with Pascal Siakam on the team. I'd expect that to change. Obviously, we've seen with James Harden going to the Clippers that it could just take some time to adjust, and then eventually you could go on a really good winning streak, like the Los Angeles Clippers did. Number 13, you got the New Orleans Pelicans, who are 25 and 18, went 1 and 1 on the week. You guys played the Hornets and won by 20, and you lost to the Suns by 14. So, it's a basic, basically a pretty solid week, I guess. Just about average. You did also trade Kira Lewis in that Pascal Siakam trade. He got shipped over to Toronto for basically some cash considerations and stuff. So, definitely makes your roster, I guess, slightly worse. But it's not like Kira Lewis was actually really playing for you guys, so it's not too big of a deal. Number 12 here, you got the Dallas Mavericks, who went 0 and 2 on the week, 24 and 19 overall record. This week they lost to the Lakers by 17 and to the Celtics by 9. So you lost to the best team in basketball in Boston, and you lost to the Lakers, who are still a pretty solid team. So I'm not really too upset about that if I'm a Dallas Mavericks fan. So you're only going to drop your 1 spot because you actually, didn't play too bad. Number 11, you got the Miami Heat, who are 24 and 19, went 0 and 3 on the week. They're only going to drop 2 spots here. If they did not make this Terry Rozier trade, they'd probably be down lower, like 14 to 15. Because you went 0 and 3 in the week, right? You lost to the Raptors by 24, to the Hawks by 1, and to the Magic by 18. You guys did not play a good week of basketball, which maybe is what prompted you guys to make this trade right now, as opposed to in 2 more weeks, like right by the trade deadline, because you just played a really bad week of basketball, and you're like, well, we really need to just be proactive and make this trade right now. So you did. You got a really good package. You got only Kyle Lowry and a first-round pick for a guy like Terry Rozier, who's averaging a pretty efficient 23 points per game. He definitely is an upgrade to your team. At number 10 is the Phoenix Suns, who are 25 and 18, went 4 and 0 on the week. They have actually won 6 straight games, which is really good to see from the Phoenix Suns. They beat the Kings by 2, the Pelicans by 14, the Pacers by 7, and the Bulls by 2. So they played a couple close games this week, but you took care of business in every single game. So I got to give that respect to you guys. And you're on, I believe you're tied for the longest or the second longest winning streak in the league. You might have the second longest solely by yourself, but you have one of the longest winning streaks in the league right now. It's 6 straight games. Number 9 is going to be the New York Knicks, who went 3-0 on the week. I'm going to move them up 3 spots right here. You beat the Rockets by 15, the Wizards by 4, and the Raptors by 26. So you played really good basketball all week long. So you're going to move up a few spots because of that. Number 8, we're going to see the Minnesota Timberwolves drop from number 3 all the way down to number 8. You are 30 and 13, still one of the best records in the league. One of very few teams with 30 wins, but this week was underwhelming. You went 2 and 2 on the week. You ended up losing to the Oklahoma City Thunder by 5, which isn't bad. You beat the Pistons only by 7. You would like to see them beat the Pistons by more than 7. You beat the Grizzlies by 15. That's a solid win. But then you ended up losing to the Charlotte Hornets by 3 points. You blew a 15-point fourth quarter lead in a game where Karl-Anthony Towns put up 60-plus points, and you guys still ended up losing that game to the Charlotte Hornets. That was pretty sad to see there. So that's really why you're going to move down here 5 spots. If you could have won that Hornets game, you'd probably be in the top 5 teams still. Number 7, you got the Milwaukee Bucks, who went 2-1 on the week, going to drop 3 spots here. Again, they're one of the few 30-win teams. But, all these top, 7, 8 teams are all really, really good teams right now. So the rankings here don't necessarily matter because I think all these 8 teams are definitively the top 8 teams currently in the league. And there's a lot of, you can rank them basically however you want to. And, I won't be too mad with you. But specifically the Bucks this week, why they're going to drop a few spots, even going 2-1, just because they played the Pistons twice and won by a combined 15 points. And the Pistons were without Cade Cunningham. So those are 2 underwhelming victories versus a really bad team without their best player. And then you got destroyed by 40 points versus the Cleveland Cavaliers, who have been without Darius Garland and Evan Mobley for a month now. So a team missing its second and third best players dominated you by 40 points, and you could barely beat a team missing its best player that is the worst team in basketball. Number 6, you got the Cleveland Cavaliers, who are on an 8-game winning streak, went 3-0 on this week, 26-15. So that's really good to see because obviously a couple weeks ago, they would have been only 18-15. Because that's how that math works with the 8 straight wins. So going on an 8-game winning streak without your second and third best players is very, very impressive. Like I said, you beat the Bucks by 40, you beat the Hawks by 21, beat the Magic by 27. So not even a close game. You won by an average of 30 points per game this week. It's really good to see. Tristan Thompson is suspended for 25 games for violating the PED policy or whatever. But, if you're going to start losing games somehow because of Tristan Thompson, I think there's going to be more to your losses than just not having Tristan Thompson. Okay, you could sign any free agent center right now, like Montrezl Harrell is available. I don't know if you really are concerned about losing out on what Tristan Thompson is giving you. Number 5, you got the Oklahoma City Thunder, who are 29-13 with 2-1 on the week. They are going to drop 3 spots here. They played really good basketball. You beat the Jazz by 5. You beat the Timberwolves, who was a really good team, by 5. You ended up losing to the Clippers by 11. So, these top 5 teams are really, really hard to rank because, they all beat a good team, and then they end up also losing to a good team. So it's a lot of, interesting scenarios about how I rank these guys. But Thunder are going to, come down here to number 5, mostly because they did, have the worst loss here by 11 points to the Clippers, and you beat, you only had 2 close wins, even though it's against 2 pretty good teams. You still had a negative point margin this week, even though you did go 2-1. Number 4 is going to be the Los Angeles Clippers, who went 2-0 in the week, 27-14 overall. I had to give them the nod over OKC because they did end up beating OKC, like I just said. They beat them by 11, and they beat the Nets by 11 this week. So they played a pretty good week. Next up is the Nuggets at number 3. There's 30-14. They went 2-1 on the week. For the Nuggets, you actually did beat the Boston Celtics this week to give them their first ever home loss, but you did lose to the Philadelphia 76ers. So that's why I'm not going to be putting you at number 1, because you lost to a good team in the Philadelphia 76ers as well, even though you did beat the best team in basketball in the Boston Celtics. And then at number 2, I will give it to the Philadelphia 76ers, who have won 6 straight games. They just beat Denver, so I feel like they need to go ahead of Denver because they also haven't lost all week. Thing with Denver versus Boston, Denver beat Boston, but still, Boston's still one of the best teams in basketball, and I don't think I could put Philadelphia at number 1 and Denver at 2 and Boston at 3. That just does not feel right. I think Boston's still the best team in basketball, which is what we're going to get to obviously right here. 34-10, that's the best record in basketball. They look like the best team in basketball for sure. And you only lost to the Nuggets by 2 points, and then you played the Spurs won by 19. You beat the Rockets by 9 and the Mavs by 9. So you still played a really good week of basketball. Just happened to lose one game by 2 points against one of the best teams in basketball. So I really didn't think it was there's any real reason to make you guys fall out of the number 1 spot. Next up here, we're going to have our top performers of the week. We got a lot to go over. Embiid put up a 40-point game. Then he put up a 70-point game just last night. One of the only 9 players in NBA history to do that. He did break Wilt Chamberlain's point record for 76 here, so that's really good to see there. Nikola Jokic had a 25-point, 19-rebound game, had a 34, 12, and 9 game, had a 42, 12, and 8 game. Jokic was going off all week long. Sabonis put up 2 triple-doubles this week, had a 14, 21 rebound game, so he's balling all week long as well. Brandon Ingram put up a 28-point triple-double. KD put up 40 twice this week. Luka with a 30-point triple-double. Jalen Brunson had 40-plus points. And 8 boards and 8 assists, so flirting with the 40-point triple-double there. Gobert had a 6-block game. Porzingis had a 30-point and 5-block game. Devin Booker dropped 50 this week. Giannis had 30-point triple-double. Miles Turner had almost a 30-point 12-board block and 5-block game, so really good game there. Dame put up 45 points with 11 assists. Wemby had 24 points with 6 blocks in that game. And then Karl Anthony Towns put up 62 points the same exact night that Joel Embiid put up 70 points, which is also the same day, like, I don't exactly remember how long, like 20 years or something, since Kobe Bryant put up 81 points, but it was on the same anniversary date of Kobe's 81-point game, which is really cool to see. And I thought Cat was actually going to be able to break 70 as well. He had 44 at halftime. He just did not score, nearly as many points in the second half as he did in the first half, obviously, and that was a big reason as to why the Timberwolves ended up blowing that game. So next up is obviously we're going to have our award races to finish it off here. Joel Embiid has jumped from number 5 all the way to number 1 now. Then everybody else is staying in the exact same order, just dropping 1 spot with Jokic, Shea, Luka, and Giannis filling out that list. The Rookie of the Year, Wembanyama jumped up to number 1, and Chet dropped to number 2. Brandon Miller Jaime Hawkins stayed at 3, and then Brandon Miller jumped to number 4, while Jarek Lively dropped to number 5. So minor changes there. For most improved player, top 2, Maxey and Sengun are going to stay the same. Kobe White jumps over Scotty Barnes for number 3, and Scotty Barnes is going to come in at 4. Emmanuel quickly jumped from, bottom of from not in the top 5 to the number 5 spot, so that's cool there. 6th man of the year, Tim Hardaway stayed at 1, and Malik Monk stayed at 2. Clarkson leaped over Bogdan Bogdanovic to get to number 3, and Bogdanovic is going to stay at 4. And then Karis LeVert's going to find his way in at number 5 now this week. Clutch player of the week, I'm not exactly sure if the odds updated it at all because every single player was in the exact same spot. So I'm just thinking they didn't really update those odds this week. Coach of the year, we got Daignault and Finch staying at 1 and 2. Rick Carlisle is going to jump up 1 spot to go to number 3. Tyronn Lue's going to jump up 2 spots to go up to number 4. And then Jamal Mosley is going to stay there at number 5. And Defensive Player of the Year, Gobert and Chet are staying at 1 and 2. OG Anunoby jumps over Anthony Davis to get to number 3, and Anthony Davis stays down there at number 4. And then Bam is going to stay at number 5. So minimal changes there as well. And yeah, that is the video. Thank you for watching. Make sure to check out my NFL videos as well, and come back next week for an updated power rankings list.